apparently they have a show called like Daily Wire Backstage or something, where the 5 main faces of the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Glenn Clavin, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, they sit around and perform masculinity.
Yeah,
And
they
is the
talk
other guy's name
about
Jeremy Boring?
Yeah, the guy's name is Jeremy Boring, one of them. Right.
Yeah.
So they sit in a circle, very masculine, with their legs crossed on leather couches and seats, and they talk about culture and whatnot and masculinity. But this one, apparently, I have not heard this before, but did you guys know that Barack Obama is responsible for the death of rock and roll? Let's play this clip.
Well, rock and roll is a public health question.
Rock and roll's over. You're still talking about rock and roll as though Barack Obama didn't happen. Honestly, it's for another day, but Barack Obama destroyed rock and roll.
You have convinced me of this.
There was rock and roll, then there was Barack Obama. Now there is no rock and roll.
Yep.
So he did something good.
But because rock and roll was about white male angst.
Oh, he just said it.
Yeah.
And then Barack Obama came
And
along
stealing a
and
lot
said
of his
that
tropes from better black music.
Yeah,
then,
really.
well, Barack Obama
Ben
came along and
Shapiro.
said young white men aren't allowed to have angst.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to basically express their dissatisfaction because they're so
Toxic.
Yeah. And so truly rock and roll just stopped.
Damn right.
Yeah, I was like, you could just substitute rock and roll for, like white supremacy, basically, or whatever. I mean, rock and roll was not about white male angst when it came to be. Rock and roll was about a bunch of white people ripping off a bunch of black artists, stealing their style and their songs and reappropriating it.
Good for Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro points out, yeah.
Yes.
He really remembers Back to the Future. I mean, you got to give him credit for that one.
I don't know. I think it's more the take that he's got to play up his intellectual bona fides, and rock and roll is still for that group. It's lower music to them, and the classics from like jazz musicians who are trained musical artists. That's so he's got to stand for them. I think that's more of the case than
just
him
looking of that.
stepping up for black musicians.
Just looking at that group full of men, I guess Ben Shapiro aside, none of them look like they would have even liked rock and roll. They all look like too old for even that they would have been talking about how it was the devil's music and seducing.
That's exactly what they would have been doing.
And
yeah.
so, like, when they say rock and roll, I think they mean like Bruce Springsteen. Like, I think they mean like John Bon Jovi. I think they mean like Jersey studio rock cop anthems. Like, I don't think they mean like, the Sex Pistols or any or anything like that. They really just mean like maybe the Rolling Stones.
If we transported them to back then, they would have been in the 50s, like losing their shit over Elvis Presley shaking his leg and saying it was too sexual. That's who they would have been.
Well, the weird way... He says angsty teenage music, which is like, okay, what angsty teenage music was around, angsty white teenage music was around when Obama took office. It's like Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
Exactly. Obama took Good Charlotte outside and just shot him like Lassie like, or Go Yell or something.
No more of this, Daughtry. This shit's done.
We had welcome to the black
and we
parade,
thank
and now we have
you.
a black president.
You took it from me, Brad.
Got him. Yeah. Gotta be fast on the
listen,
draw.
the black parade means something different now. Gerard.
I've had enough goddamn Red Hot Chili Peppers. Get that shit out of my face.
Like, I would just like for them to drop a playlist. They should drop a mixtape. The Daily Wire. I don't know what their little group is called. They should drop a mixtape.
The Backstage mixtape.
Yeah. Backstage mixtape. That sounds pretty all right. Like, put 12 songs on it. I want to hear what they think of when they think of rock music.
You know what the saddest thing about this clip is right at the beginning where Jeremy Boring says that Obama has killed rock and roll music, and Michael Knowles off camera says, "You have convinced me of this," as if it was at some sort of like salon talking about like republicanism versus feudalism or something like that. Like, you have convinced me of this. Just this dumb theory that Obama's said, don't be angsty, white boys, come on. Like, when did Obama even do that?
He existed.
They just envisioned.
Right. Here's the thing, though. Like we were mentioning, like who they even consider to be rock and roll. And I completely agree with you, Brandon. They're probably thinking of like, the Rolling Stones, the Who, Bruce Springsteen, and it's like, well, these guys. I mean, I know Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh are younger, but they all have boomer style mentality, right? Like some of those guys look like they could be a boomer age, and like those are the big artists, what they consider to be rock and roll. And rock and roll for them was like, the all like the if you wanted to bother your parents, you listened to those bands, right? Like those were, like you were saying, but newer generations, the different music came around. Pop music grew and it became something, it grew with the times, and hip hop and rap became super popular and considered both continued to evolve with the times. Whereas rock and roll has been stuck in this like consistently bringing out these old school acts and like living off the era of these legends. Like when you think of big rock and roll groups, those are still the groups you think of. Yes, some have, like My Chemical Romance we're talking about, have made their way in, but it's still mostly like the big arena tours and the big rock acts, those old bands. So, I mean, the idea that that's who they're talking about is hilarious. And also, I mean, that explains why rock and roll died compared to other, musical genres. Rock and roll didn't evolve with the times. It had nothing to do with Obama.
I'm not that. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Ben Shapiro on January 9th, 2012, tweeted out, "My favorite piece of music, Fantasia on a Theme by Thomas Tallis by Ralph Vaughan Williams."
He sings and plays the violin or whatever, right? He sings opera.
But like, okay, I might be going a bit beyond my expertise here, but unlike Ben Shapiro, I don't claim to be a classical musician. But Vaughan Williams, I'm pretty sure, is like looked down upon as sort of like a pop classical musician. So I'd be curious to, anybody knows about Vaughan Williams can confirm my suspicion that Ben Shapiro is even posing about his classical music, bona fide it is.
Music is dead now, honestly, except for rap and Eurovision. And I think I have the courage to say this. This is the undisputable truth. But at the same time, I just think it's interesting that, you can tell that they just, kind of like what Matt was saying, envision themselves in some sort of early 20th century, like Viennese salon with these big ideas and smoking cigars, only to come out with like, Obama destroyed anime, and then that's like the quality of their insight. And then they're like, before Obama, we had like Fist of the North Star and Dragon Ball Z and all of these like shonen boys anime, and then after, everyone is like going into video games and trying to bang their sister, and that's just like what Obama did to the genre. And it's like, okay, so it's just clear you don't know anything about not only rock music but music at all. Go ahead.
You've convinced me that way, by the way, Brandon. You've convinced me of that.
He feminized anime.
Anything that does not accompany a viral dance on TikTok is dead. Yeah. Anything that does not accompany a viral dance on TikTok is dead.
I mean, that is just such funny analysis to blame a president coming to office for a whole cultural genre for being put about. Like, I think about Michael doing his Nation of Obama voice, like, it was Clear Channel Radio, you fucking idiot. Like that's who killed rock music. Like it wasn't like the president you don't like because you support the other party. We're
getting so many funny IMs about this that I have to read.
But it also explains though what bands they consider to be rock and roll. That they think like Obama putting out his, as the cool president, putting out his like summer playlist, and it mostly
playlists suck so bad. They're
but it
so
like mostly
manufactured.
Consists right. It mostly consists of crappy music, but like he throws a few like rock bands on there, but it's mostly like not rock music. And like for them, it's like, oh, Obama didn't include like the Rolling Stones and Bruce Springsteen, which actually he probably does, but
he has that. They have a whole podcast series with Bruce Springsteen, doesn't he? Or it's like,
I mean, but you think they know that? You think they know that?
Actually, well, if they know it, it probably like that's what they're saying when he killed rock. It's like he's friends with all the musicians that we used to like.
Yeah,
exactly. Except they were like, he's hanging out with Bruce Springsteen and that killed rock. I'd be like, right on, man. But what they mean is like, I can't listen to, I don't know. Oh my gosh, who am I thinking of? The one who sings that song.
No, what they mean is that like there isn't white cultural hegemony in music in the way that there was when rock and roll existed. That's what they mean.
I long for the days of Screwdriver when white music was all the rage.
I gotta read some of these IMs. Donkey Balls Mike. Rock and roll died when Barack Obama threatened to drone strike the Jonas Brothers. Mark Monkey. I really wish that Obama had drone struck Simple Plan.
Hey, I was just listening to Untitled, and that song holds up, sort of.
No. Really?
Yellow card, you kidding me? Red card.
I mean, it definitely is still the anthem of white wine, so I like to play it when they do their little complaining.
I guess
How could this happen to me?
I, for some reason, got Obama's voice in my head singing that something corporate song, like "You could be my punk rock princess."
We have somebody saying that Vaughn Williams is not looked down upon in the classical music world. I just thought maybe because is Ricky Gervais's favorite classical too.
Oh, yikes. Hugh, I'm not reading this. They're trying to make me say something. Hugh something after that. Rock and roll was a CIA op to steal from and further destabilize and disenfranchise the black community in the United States. That's my favorite conspiracy.
Well, I wouldn't just limit it to the black community, but there are conspiracies, and I haven't looked into these in depth myself, but it sounds interesting that the CIA basically was at a lot of early rock shows giving out acid in the parking lot, basically, and cultivating ties to a lot of like I forget, the Merry Pranksters in the 50s and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I mean, I think that's a plausible one, actually.
Captain No Fun, you heard it here first. Obama invented the Naruto run.
I mean, I wish Obama had the courage to put out his like top anime of the summer 2021 list. That would do wonders for him, improving me in his run. I'm opposite, improving him in my view.
God, sorry, these
Genesis.
What? No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Brandon.
No, I was just going to say, like, instead what he did was form a supergroup of like Peter Gabriel, Bruce Springsteen, Bono, and Sting, and now every white dad is mad that they can't listen to music and be racist anymore.
Sam's sentient tushy hole, gross. Flashbacks to Clinton's sax shredding on Arsenio Hall. Clinton killed Jazz. Jay Breezy, Obama killed Hente, you know. Hente. Sure. I know what that is, but it's sad. Aaron is not cool. Obama did it all for the nookie, and by nookie he means he didn't vote for Bernie. He means don't vote for Bernie. Sorry. That was pretty funny.
I really can't get Obama's voice singing all these songs out of my head now. It's really bad. I'm gonna just I need to take a break.
All for the nookie.
Can anyone pull off Obama voice, Jonathan Davis of Korn doing those noises he would do? Can anyone do that?
That's a very specific request, but now I can hear it.
Out with the sickness. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.